What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. We just here to get into this episode 12 of Love is Blind. We are going to the chapel and we're going to get married. But not everybody getting married. Mostly nobody's getting married. Only Amy and Johnny got married. But we gonna go over this little situation episode and pretend like y'all know what happened. We're gonna pretend like Chelsea be pretending. Before we get into Chelsea and Jimmy, who didn't make it to the aisle, like the video, subscribe to my channel. So let's talk about this. We're down to the amusement park, right? And he'd had the thing shut down for her. They're having this little moment where they're sitting down by themselves. Now, you know what, Chelsea? This is some real basic shit you got going on over here. It's amazingly basic right here. We sitting down to the amusement park by ourselves. I mean, first of all, I live around the corner from Mickey Mouse, so you're not gonna be able to press, me with no Walmart outside lights under a awning. But it's okay because that's what she over here asking for. Anyway, we're having this moment, and Jimmy looks at Chelsea and he says, I love you so much. And I have no doubt in my mind you're my person. But are we gonna get married? Because I don't even really know where you're at. Chelsea said, well, it's been a really intense emotional roller coaster. We've been through some terrible things, but we've, learned that we understand how to make it through conflict. And we're very good at that because we communicate over here. I see you as a great husband and a great father. And yes, Jimmy, I'm ready to move on. Jimmy was like, I love you to death. And I want us to work so bad. And I want a relationship with you. But I don't want to go to the altar. I was like, finally, Jimmy. We were wondering when you were going to say that. Jimmy said no. Jimmy said, gotcha, bitch. Jimmy, why you ask her that? Why couldn't you just tell her, like, why you set her up to sit up there and look a fool saying, yes, I'll marry you because I think you're a great husband and all that stuff. And then just to turn around and say, you should have started with that. I love you to death. And I really want to relate. That should have been first. Now Chelsea get on my nerves, but you set her up to make a bigger fool out of her than she already was being. Chelsea looked, she was like, okay, so you're set on that. You're not trying to move forward, you're set. He's like, yeah, I'm set. Like, for me, it's gonna be a no. I feel like you never wanted to do this in the first place, and you just wasted my time. First of all, I don't feel like he wasted that much of your time. Second of all, I feel like that last argument y'all had that we were all here for, apparently it was 2 weeks ago, but for us, it was just the other day. So that fight that y'all had, and then the next day when he came back and said, I don't want to do it, and you talked him into doing it anyway, he still was at, I don't want to do it. I guess he just, punked out and was scared to say something. But today he's like, this is it. Before I take my ass to the altar, anyway, I'm glad he did not do it because, that would be a waste of her time. Mm, I really don't know what to do with Chelsea. And I'm glad it's not my job. This girl is over here. I guess she'll find someone that's willing to put up with that, whatever that thing is that she does. Chelsea, you are a grown ass woman. Thing one, stop slump skipping your ass across the room. It's not attractive. It looks goofy. Stand your ass up and walk across the room. Thing two, stop that baby talk. If y'all niggas like are into that baby talk thing behind the closed doors, it's fine. But Chelsea, nobody wants to hear your point when you talking about how sad you be making me cranky, girl. Shut the fuck up. And this is the thing. So Jimmy chose his friend. Chelsea was too much. Chelsea, he decided, I'm not going to disagree with you. He decided when you came slump skipping down the aisle over at the pod that he was not doing that. To him, you lied. And we all knew that that was going to be his reaction. But, you know, it's a show. He done signed up. He actually probably looked at you and like, well, my mom and dad are like her. You know, I'm not going to say he was 100%. I think he tried. Jimmy tried. Whatever connection y'all had over in the pod, it was the actual connection because he wouldn't have picked you otherwise. So, you know, I'm not going to say it was all bullshit. I don't know if he was doing that baby talk weird ass slump thing where he couldn't see you slumping, skipping. But he, you know, the baby talk thing, they like the baby talk thing clearly because AD got it bad too. And I wish y'all would all cut it the fuck out. Jimmy, you fucked your friend. And then you be texting her all the time. Are y'all trying to be in a relationship or not? Because if you're trying to be in a relationship and not with her, y'all gonna have to put some distance between you and the communication and her. But at the end of the day, you chose her instead of Chelsea because you like her better. As soon as Chelsea says she wasn't down with that whole you hanging out with this girl all the time thing, you know, on top of all the other shit she had, you know, the clingy thing. You chose your friend. And maybe you and your friend should revisit why it is y'all fell into each other's personal space so deep that you was bouncing up and down on the thing. Anyway, Chelsea cries out her feelings over offense. And Jimmy looks quite relieved that he finally got that off his chest. Whew, we're relieved. We did not want to see that happen. So we're all very happy to see Chelsea and Jimmy part ways before they got down to the altar. Okay. Bachelorette party night. Johnny and Clay are over here. They're the final two, and AD and Amy are having their bachelorette party. It was all very cute, I suppose. Clay is over here giving his friends the hard sell on AD, and you know, he says he's a lot to handle. And he says, but his relationship with AD, like she's so good to him, she's made him a better man. He wants to fight for it. He wants to fight for this relationship. And I'm like, why you want to fight? Clay, who you want to fight? Because right now, that's not what you should be feeling like, not fighting. Just saying. It don't seem like Johnny and Amy are over here fighting anything. They fell straight into it, but they did not go into it tortured either. We're at the wedding now. Let's get to the shits. Beautiful location. They have them out in this beautiful garden. Like she gets to the bridal room. It's all very nice. I saw a quite nice little spread over there for some croissants and things. And so, you know, make all the ladies comfortable. We have a flashback of Clay and all the times, you know, he was telling AD how he loved her. You know, we get a little montage of the relationship, but we also get a flashback of Clay repeatedly telling her how his dad cheated on his mom and it's fucking with him because he had to go along. And I sympathize with that, but at the same time, I'm like, so maybe he should take care of those emotions and those fears. And he said that. AD, and you said, it's okay. I'm here for you. Whatever you need, you can lean on me. And at some point, I may have to lean on you. He was like, I'm not strong enough for that. I can lead everywhere, but except for at home and relationships, because that's not what I do. But I love you a lot, and I appreciate the man that you're turning me into. You know, when they say don't speak life into it, you came into this what do they call it? Process. You came into this process out of your own mouth said, I usually am a fix-a-hoe. I be out here fixing hoes and painting my nails the same color as red flags. That's what you said, AD. So stop painting that picture of yourself to yourself because you basically just gave yourself an excuse to go ahead and do the very same thing you said you always be doing. Clay wasn't even your first choice because you knew that was the thing you always do. You was about to run off with Matthew into the wilderness in the trunk of his car, I suppose, because I'm still not convinced that Matthew ain't crazy, but I'm just saying. Clay was not the first choice. He was what was left. Clay came into this whole experiment worried that he wasn't going to be able to finesse the situation without his money and his good looks. He was going to have to rely completely on his personality, and he was concerned his personality is not enough. And you're like, oh, don't worry, Clay. I'll help you fix your personality. Well, good job, I suppose. He said you were. He said it worked. And you helped him be a better man in those few, he learned something here. Her family rise, the fairy tale begins. They're dancing around the room. And I wonder why AD is so focused on this fantasy. Because I don't know, none of us are perfect. So I look at them like, they could have been a thing. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't get that fair. I don't believe in fairy tales. So however fairy tale shit is going into it, I just don't believe in fairy tales. And at some point you have to learn how to work together, whatever the circumstances that you chose, right? So because I like Clay, I don't think Clay is a horrible person. You know what I'm saying? He's not really out here trying to sneak things. But when you say things, I'm concerned about what I might do. It's a warning that you have every, I think, intention on following through on. So you could say, told you I was going to be having a problem with this, and I need you to like stand by me while I work on it. Right? Because that's what Clay is out here doing. He said the date was an issue. For her, she wanted to follow through the process. And like I said before, the process seems to be getting in the way of the relationship. She's pondering how fine and chocolate her man is. It's, I'm not gonna be mad at that. Shit, if you finna walk down the aisle with somebody, I would hope you want to think they fine and chocolate or caramel or vanilla or whatever flavor you walking down the aisle with. Her mother comes in. She met Clay's mom. They got along, they, felt very warm feelings towards each other. I think that's like half the battle right there. Everybody's family don't look the same. So I think it's very cool that when the parents met each other, it was a warm, like, welcome to the family type situation. Both mothers are very much supportive and loving of their two children about to go off and do some stupid shit. Hopefully behind the scenes, they were like, are you sure, girl? I wish her mother would have said that. I wish her mother would have not been like, oh, AD, that's a man. I wish she would have been like, I mean, he's cute and everything, but are you sure? What makes you sure? When your daughter starts saying she wants to jump off a cliff without a parachute, you should be concerned about that. Don't jump. Hang on a second. Let me get that parachute. I ain't telling you don't go, but protect yourself. Player's talking to his boys, and is he a salesman? He feels like a salesman because he feels like he's always trying to sell me something. And right now he's trying to sell AD how, she's a wonderful woman, everything's good, the sex is good, and we get along, we laugh, we have a good time. She, making me a better man. It's always about him winning them, winning. I keep hearing that. And what she does for him. And I'm like, winning though, I don't know, Clay. Everything is not a competition. I don't even know what he's supposed to be winning. I don't know what he's competing with. It's kind of weird. He said he's an I person. You still an I person, Clay, because I haven't really heard you say nothing about what you only seem to see things that AD, the good things that in her is how she makes you better. So you still very focused on I. I don't really know. Do you know AD? Hmm. And on that note, I guess you don't some of the things you said, and it makes sense as to why you're on pause. But AD, you told this man, I'm okay if you get all the way to the altar and you don't want to do it. That's what you said. I'm okay if you get all the way. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be hurt, but I can handle it. That's what you told him. So right then, he probably was like, all right, well, I got all the way down to the altar to decide what I'm gonna do. His father shows up. I ain't gonna lie, I was expecting something different because his daddy wasn't giving. Yeah, I mean, Playboys come in many different packages, I suppose. I'm just saying that ain't what I thought we was gonna get. Clay's tall. I guess I was thinking of an older version of Clay somehow. He sure looks up to his dad, though. His dad came in there giving him speeches about winning, running track, and then he starts naming off his own accolades. And I was like, I mean, what does this have to do with anything? He's not about to go compete for nothing. He's won the heart. He's about to go, take the next step in this phase of his life. But he's over here competing. And he's getting a pep talk from his dad that ain't a pep talk. This is not what the other fathers were saying to their sons and son-in-laws and stuff. He was over there when I was running track and I went to state and county and in the country and overseas. And I'm like, okay, so what is happening here? Nothing about love and respect for one another. Everything about winning the race and being the best. It explains a lot. Clay standing there, he talking about, yeah, I'm used to pressure and big stages. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. Then he turned right around and said, yeah, this moment is very surreal. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Are you at peace or are you overwhelmed? Can you be overwhelmed and at peace at the same damn time? If you can, please let me know that trick. Because if it's a pleasant feeling, I would like to find that because overwhelmed stresses me the fuck out. So which is it, Clay? He said he thinks I think marriage would be good for me. Mm. Why? Because you'll have somebody in house like AD who's there to this nigga said he was a baby. He said that. I'm just a baby. No, you're not, child. Everything he said is absolutely true. But AD is over here talking about he's fine and chocolate. Ooh, girl, he's a looker. He all right. I mean, he's a tall, nice looking kid, but I'm just saying, calm down. Well, AD puts her dress on. She looks beautiful in the dress. I'm glad he didn't take that moment away from her. See, right now she's seeing it as something that he took away from her. He's not. You got to go ahead, put that dress on, let the world see you do it, girl. And it was I'm a minimalist, so I don't need all that other shit. I just thought, it spoke, enough with the veil and everything. I liked it. I didn't love her makeup. I like that it was natural. I hate her eyelashes, and I wish she had a little bit of lip, just a little bit. And there's way better eyelashes out there, AD. And if we don't mention your eyelashes, then I guess you're going to keep walking around doing that. So we have voted and we have decided there's better eyelashes. So throw those away. I'm not about to sit up here and talk about nobody's weave. Her, weave was all right. It could have been better, but hey, a lot of shit could have been better. I've seen much worse. It wasn't that bad. Um, Clay's mother is having a little chat with him before he walks down the aisle. They're standing behind this beautiful gate with all these flowers, and she's giving him this speech about how wait until you see your bride walk down the aisle and he's sitting there like, You ever notice that Clay does that thing where when you're talking, he's talking, finishing your sentences for you? I forget what that means. Like, it's a thing. The gate's open and AD is standing there by herself. And I was like, why did her mother walk her down the aisle? I would walk my mother down the aisle. I wouldn't want to be by myself. You're supposed to have somebody walking down the aisle. So she walked down the aisle, child. She kind of did this little, thing down the aisle. Very AD of her. She just cheesing and cheesing. And he's looking like, okay, so I guess this is the part where I'm about to tell her we're not doing it. So he gets up there. They're just cheesily smiling at each other. He's giving it all he's got. You look good. You look good. They start their vows, and Clay talks about when the first time when he laid eyes on her, because in the pod he told her straight out that he was going to have a problem with her appearance if she ain't look right enough for him. And he said when he first saw her, his first thought was like, oh, okay, I can work with that. And that's the vibe it was giving, Clay. It was giving not like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? It was definitely giving, okay, I can work with that, especially after she spinned around. He was like, yeah, we can be riding out, da 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 da. Y'all be on that whole image thing and what things look like. And y'all need to focus a little bit more on what they really are. AD pours into Clay, giving him this whole speech about how he's an amazing man and she's always gonna be here for him. And she jumps her happy ass off the cliff with no parachute. Why she do that? I feel like we told her not to do that, but here she go. I knew she was gonna do it too. Another one set up. I said, wow. Oh, Clay, all day, every day. Oh, Clay. No way, not doing it. I am probably thinking it's irresponsible for me to go through with this. He's absolutely right. It is irresponsible. He already told you that. He needs therapy. There's things he needs to work on within himself. He also mentioned that he didn't understand her finances. And that's what I'm talking about when I say image. You were so worried about what she looked like, and now she fit in that dress and everything. Dang, girl, look at that. He was giving her all that energy. But what about her finances? She said she's a realtor. At least that's, what her job title says. But then she says she manages a bar, club, and she was a cheerleader. And there's nothing wrong with, I feel like people like pass the real estate test and then say they're a realtor, but that's a hell of a hustle. That's a hustle. So are you on that hustle? Because that's a hustle. I'm just saying. I don't know what it's like in Charlotte, but a hustle. Charlotte is it's a bigger city over there in Carolina. It's over by the water. This boy over here renting out jet skis and things. He has his irons in the fire trying to figure out what it's gonna be. And AD need to figure out what she's gonna be. Because if you don't spend more time pouring into yourself than you do on this nigga, you're gonna be somewhere talking about why am I never good enough? You are good enough, first of all. And I don't think he came from a place of saying that you weren't. He said he ain't ready. Why do we have to be focused on the date? And I told you last week, if you had us stay there, if you wanted to stay there, you should have been more compromising on not following through with this process, because 4 weeks is like a shorter period of time, period. But I mean, for somebody who's saying like, I need to work on me, and I guess, Clay, the lesson for you is that you need to work on you. So please do it moving forward. Shout out to Misha. What else happened, y'all, over there with them? I said he was bringing up finance and foundation. I'm not sure what the hell y'all were talking about. That's the difference between Amy and Johnny and everybody else. They were having these types of conversations. So they would understand these things. They already know they like each other. That part is the easy part. Why you think niggas in jail got so many women on the line? Because they know how to talk on the phone and make people fall in love. They be down to the jailhouse matrimony and niggas. So could you be in a pod and fall in with somebody's energy? Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm thinking 5 days is not very much, but somebody said it was 10 days. So we getting there, but I'm just saying. I feel like Clay, once it was all over, he was just like Jimmy. He was very relieved to have gotten that off his chest finally because he kept telling this girl, I like you, but I ain't ready to do it. And she kept pushing forward. I want to stay committed to the process. So this is the outcome, little girl. And you got a chance to walk down the aisle. Now your sisters and them stomped off angrily, but I can't say I blame them. I would have been mad for you too. I'm just saying. We all the way down here to the thing, getting the hair and nails done. Now, what are we going to do? Enjoy this beautiful setup we got over here and go ahead and have a few cocktails and dance anyway. Nope, y'all gonna get in the car and leave. Production said y'all can't have it unless you say yes. I was more upset when he found out she was liking Matthew. Now that sent him off. He was bent all out of shape, crying and stuff down to the gentleman's lounge. Over here, he's just like, we'll see what happens. I'll call her later. But I mean, if she doesn't, she'll be fine. She's a strong woman. And I feel like if he can strong woman and do that thing that he does to get her back, in his clutches, because he needs somebody help him be better. That's what he needs around. And she needs a project hoe to fix. Not that he's a project hoe, a project and a hoe, not a project hoe. Yeah. Amy and Johnny. Well, thank God for Amy and Johnny. Like I said, Amy and Johnny were down to the pods having real conversations about real things. So when they got out of the pod, all they had to do was like enjoy each other's presence. And while they were in each other's presence, they were still low key probably having these conversations. The whole thing about having babies and stuff, they came to an understanding. I think the understanding is, Johnny, get over yourself. It might be 3 years. It might be 2. Y'all will be fine. Having all these cute little babies that look like Johnny's family, only with brown hair. The mamas and daddies was cute. Amy's daddy had me up here with a tissue. Johnny's daddy said, look, don't nobody tell you when to fall in love. It could be 4 weeks, it could be a year. He's right, though. I fell in like, but like I said, they wasn't playing. They was getting to the real shit. And that's very important. But they also came from a whole situation where there's brothers and sisters over one side and sisters and aunts and uncles. I mean, brother and sisters and uncles and just family. You know what I'm saying? So it was probably easy for them to fall into this thing, different. AD has had a daddy who wasn't around. Clay's daddy over here taking him out on his booty calls. So their perspective of matrimony is different. So they're going to have to approach it different. Ain't no fairy tales over here, girl. Boy, was that some sad walk back from the altar. That sucked. We over here now with Amy and him. Oh. Amy walked down the aisle with her father and her brother, which I thought was cute. And I was like, see, AD, why didn't you have somebody walk with you? Anyway. It was very cute when her father dropped her off at the altar and then he hugged Johnny and Johnny hugged her brother. I was like, thank y'all for saving this for the last, because I needed everything to end this way with the way they ragged me around over there at that last wedding I attended. The first thing he says to her, Clay, is, of course she will be gorgeous. Now I can work with that. She says, I do. He says, I do. They walk down the aisle and there's this person like painting them while they saying their vows. That was very dope. I would have one of those at my wedding that I'm not ever gonna have. And then Wepa, we party. Everybody gets together dancing, and thank you goodness, Amy and Johnny, bring it on home. And I guess we'll find out what else happens at the reunion. Who's still together? We know who's on bullshit. Y'all like the video. Subscribe to my channel. See y'all next week. Bye.